right, welcome back. We took a little bit of a break toward the end of the season when the finals were going on, but we are back. We will do our annual review of each state final. That's all going to be coming over the next few months as we gear up for the 2022 season. But just want to do just a little video today, just a short one about a play that happened. Actually involved one of our teams from Georgia. They went out and played in the Geico Series out in Las Vegas. So I think they played a team from Nevada. But this play was sent to us. I thought we would address it, especially since it does involve a Georgia school. And it did bring up a lot of debate, especially on the training staff. There's a lot of debate about whether or not this is legal, this is illegal. We ultimately decided that this is a legal play. We will go into it about why it's legal. But I do want to show it, go over the rule, and a couple of plays that are similar to it. So let's dive right into it. As you'll see, we're going to watch this back that goes in motion. Once it goes in motion, and then from this angle, it looks like we just have a straight up generic offsides by the defense. As you watch this angle, you'll see there is some kind of action by the running back in motion that you could argue draws them off. Now, you could also say defense is already kind of itching. Look like they're coming off anyway. Plus, he was already by the defenders when he did this action. So the debate that came up was, is this legal or is it illegal? Kind of both sides and arguments for and against. Arguments for it being illegal was that it was simulating an action at the snap intended to draw the defense offside. The action for it being legal is that there's a judgment call, not really an action that would draw defense offside. There are other actions that we allow, and we'll go over all that as well. So let's take a look at the rule that was being used by some of us that were opposed to this. And really this is the ultimate rule in deciding this. And it's 717 before the snap. After the ball is ready for play and before the snap begins, no false start shall be made by any A player. It is a false start if, and it gives us these three scenarios where you could have a false start. A shift or feigned charge simulates action at the snap. Any act clearly intended to cause B to encroach. Any A player on his line between the snapper and the player on the end of his line, after having placed a hand on or near the ground, moves his hand or makes any quick movement. And the 718 kind of goes a wee bit further and says, as a false start, if a false start causes B to encroach, only the false start is penalized. So some of us that were against this particular play, saying that it should have been a foul, we're saying basically this is action that you could either go it simulates its action of the snap, or you could say it is an act clearly intended to cause B to encroach. And that was the argument we were using, and we were saying if you're going to have a foul here, which since B encroaches in the neutral zone, you have to have a foul, the foul should have been a false start. That was our argument. Argument against it was it is not clearly intended to cause B to encroach, and really the main kicker was there are other actions that are intended to cause B to encroach that we let go. Actions that we just consider are just part of the normal football play. That includes, you could argue, and I see this argument very well, that anytime you use a 2 snap count or 3 snap count, that is intended to cause B to encroach, right? So if it's 3rd and short or 4th and short, offense goes up to line of scrimmage. They do a hard count or anything like that. And we see it all the time. They do the hard count, double count, whatever. B doesn't encroach. Then they immediately come up, call a timeout, then they punt it. Or something along those lines. We see that all the time. Well, by that logic, then that would be a false start. Because they're trying to get B to encroach. So, If we go back and look at it, now, like I see, the argument is he is trying to simulate that he is taking the snap. But we also see quarterbacks do this too with a head bob or clapping their hands, especially. If a quarterback claps his hands and the ball's not snapped to him, we're not going to call that a false start. Or if he claps his hands and B comes across the neutral zone, nor are we going to call that a false start. So there are other actions that we just deem are part of football, and we don't penalize those. So those are the arguments again. Like I said, ultimately, we're siding on this is not a foul. It is just a legal part of the game. So with that, I want to look at some other plays. Other players similar that kind of go into this. This is from one of the most recent state finals this year. As you can see, he does the same thing. He pretends like he is taking a snap. And no one on defense jumps off sides. Now, it's not as exaggerated as the previous play, but you could also argue that that means it's not that, well, it's just not that good. If it doesn't exaggerate, maybe like exaggerating it shows that, but that shows furthermore that he's not getting the ball. But either way, it's not much. Defense doesn't jump. They're not even fooled. So, no foul there. Basically, no harm, no foul. Alright, let's look at another one. Oh, that's the same play. Here we go. So this one involves a field goal kick. And this is an interesting one. This is one I actually had I saw this live and actually had to text a couple of people and ask, hey, what is this? You know, is this illegal? Because I was a kicker myself, so I didn't know. But here you have the kicker is going to actually kind of stutter before he starts. So this is actually an interesting play too, because you kind of have to look into illegal shifts as well. What backs can do before and after, before the snap and all that. And a kicker is considered a back because he's one of the four in the back, so he's considered a back. So technically he can go forward and then stop, reset, and then go again. So then you can make the argument, okay, but him starting his approach, that constitutes, you know, simulating the snap or something like that. Yeah, it could, but again, no one in the defense is drawn off sides, and you can see he actually starts, stops. You know, is that a full second reset? No, not really, but the argument is there that he starts, resets, and then he goes. So again, no harm, no foul. No point throwing a flag there. Okay, so this is earlier in the year. It actually happened in my game. It's me at White Hat. And this kept happening over and over. Kept saying to the back, hey, watch what you're doing. Watch the tailback there. See, he's leaning. And this isn't much. If anything, it kind of hurts them because you're kind of indicating to the defense that they're looking at you where you're going. So that one wasn't much. Kind of talked to them. Said, hey, cut it out. Make sure you're still. This one's a little more dramatic. That one's more than a lean. That's almost, he's almost just taking a step forward. So again, talk to him, hey, cut it out. And then the next one was actually called back a touchdown. A little too late, a little too much. And see, we just threw the flag. But this one, we talked to him. And as I said, the leaning is not too bad. If you're leaning, whatever. Like I said, you're more hurting yourself because you're indicating where you're going. But, a full step forward after repeatedly telling them, at that point, it's just time to throw the flag. But it didn't happen anymore. But again, you could chalk that up as that's nothing. And so in retrospect, maybe I shouldn't have even thrown that flag. Knowing what I know now, kind of looking at the rule, looking at these other plays, what he was doing, I don't even know if that's flag worthy. Hindsight's 2020 though. We learn every year, learn with every play. But that is it for right now. Like I said, we just want to show a short video. kind of kick off 2022, get things rolling back on the channel. Plus, it was an interesting play we just wanted to show. So, that is it. Stay tuned. We will start rolling out the state final reviews soon, maybe next week. We're still, kind of taking it slow, taking a break from football, but just want to get that out. So, see you next week. Thanks for watching the channel. Remember to subscribe, like the video if you like it. If you don't like it, other button works too.